well, that's actually going to be the lobby. But this is the game, so here we go. Sentinels, TSM. TSM does have that one map advantage because they did win the upper bracket finals. Remember that. But now we jump into the action. Look at this here. They're just going to send it out wide, going all the way toward A side, Dan. They actually pushed them all the way back in the defender side. What a smoke, too, to just isolate them. And then they take A in a very, very unconventional way.
Just perfect, really. They smoked off B site and just stomped their way on, forced everyone off of that site, and then as soon as they've been able to take it, they said, well, actually, we're quite vulnerable here on B, so why don't we just keep this trainer going? And instead, we get the spike down on A here.
They're just going to go and just, oh my goodness, they fly right through there. Sinatra's going to be dancing around this corner, does not get the shots. There were going to be too many guns looking right at him. And TSM will strike first.
I think this is going to be the perfect confidence builder for TSM and maybe just to knock down a little bit of the momentum from Sentinels. And I mean, I really appreciate how they've used the smokes there to get onto the B site, but not just committed to that B site after taking it, because the retake capabilities of Sentinels is very strong. We know that. We've seen that throughout a variety of their different games. So instead, TSM just taking the game to them, trying to make them rotate even longer and taking control of that A site. But now as we go into this second round, of course, it is going to be a bad buy for the Sentinels, so I'm always intrigued to see what players actually try and do here. Can they pick anything up? Hazed does lose a little bit of health, but he's been able to get that early pick, and now they can just wait. They can see if anyone else is going to get aggressive, but at the moment, looks like they're setting up for a flash into B.
Yeah, they're setting up for that, but there is going to be a push making its way from C. That will be for the orb, so that's an objective 1 for them. A little bit of value that they're going to be able to get out of this round here, but Subroza goes right for it, swings, and is going to knock it out of the park, leaving just 2 players now for Sentinels to be tucked away over here by C6, dealing with a lot of this pressure. The spike is actually going to be right in front, but they're not just going to concern themselves with that because they know that Stick basically is going to be dead to rights, and they handled that one. So they didn't bring the spike up, but that's okay, because when it all is said and done, they were able to just get inside of B, push them out. Those last 2 players, they handled them with relative ease, and that was going to be a gimme round for them.
Big question for me is when we're going to see the Odin eventually get brought out as well. We saw Sinatraa putting it over towards A, also putting it through double doors at B, making it very difficult at times for TSM to try and push up and get aggressive in all these various different angles. At the moment, looks like they're going to try and take some window control here in the early stages, but they could be actually started quite early because you can see 2 players set up on the B site for Sentinels, and ShahZaM's in the perfect spot with the op as well. And this is just a fantastic hold.
Completely stopping that attempt there. Dapr keeping in the camera state too, so gets the tag and now knows that this is going to be happening over yonder by the A site. And they'll just wait this out. The tag's there. I just like the cheeky play with the camera. I think that Shangers did a brilliant job of just emphasizing the camera use that we're seeing from these players. It's just great that people are always looking to just hang out in those cameras. And it's just an easy retake for Sentinels, which has kind of been their trademark here. And boy, that is a lot of tactical crouching.
Round 3. GB. I said it was going to arrive, but I didn't expect it this early. I'm going to be completely honest.
A lot of just hitting them with the bag. Okay, all right. All right, Dan. Well, we get guns online, and guess what? Sentinel strike first, and TSM are kind of left cover their pants down here, courtesy of that flash that came in. This adjustment putting Sick on Phoenix and letting him just go to town. We've been complimenting Sick so much for his Sage play, but on this map in particular, the way that it's a fearless approach that he has for Phoenix. Phoenix so vital for that flash, and that is the reason why right there. But now the round begins here. They're going to look to see what can they pull out of Sentinels, if anything at all, or excuse me, TSM, anything at all.
We're having a brimstone off at C site where smoke has gone down either side just to try and gain control. Cypher Trap is there as well. Just a tripwire to ensure that no one's going to be pushing from C, but it's going to be very much a push towards A. Brimstone's going to join the fray. And they just need to try and make sure they get these smokes online and block off any sort of view from heaven. Try and utilize the Cypher camera to gain any information, see if anyone's going to be waiting on shore. And I imagine this is going to be a little bit of a burst onto site as soon as this smoke goes on A long.
Yeah, Dapr has to give up a lot of real estate there. Just to wait for his teammates to get to him, but now push is going to come in. They do manage to get onto the site. Hazed, though, a clean pick onto Dapr as he tried to get back in there and take possession of the site that he was in charge of. Doesn't really work out for him. ShahZaM located up top heaven. Wardell has an angle on that. So if ShahZaM does move around, and it is an angle that you're not always going to expect, and that's why Wardell manages to get the kill there against ShahZaM. And an orbital strike comes in as well, is going to deny Sick an opportunity to make an impact. That's just going to prompt them to have to back away from this one, Sentinels. Sinatraa really didn't have a window of opportunity to escape that. Zombs will just run with the gun. And TSM will strike back here. After losing that third round, they managed to regroup and take that A site. I think it was just, it came down to the fact that they managed to get in there so fast, and there wasn't really that opportunity for them to, for Sentinels to retake like they do so cleanly.
Well, they were able to gain so much control of A long, and we saw it more and more when they played each other previously yesterday. Wardell was just getting more and more aggressive with the op, and as soon as he's got that op in hand, he is far more confident to take these peaks and ensure they can gain control of A. And once they were able to get that far up A, of course, you can get the brim smokes out, you can set everything up. The tripwires were put behind, so Wardell was comfortable enough to sit on that spot on top of the box so he could snipe heaven. And everything just kind of fell into place for TSM. Sentinels didn't really have the answer for it, and maybe they weren't necessarily expecting that much ease being put onto site. But I feel like they need to contest A long a little bit better in those scenarios. Otherwise, they might find TSM continuously doing that.
Well, TSM, they're just going to march on to C. This is almost shades of what we saw in that last round, except opposite side of the map. TSM will manage to get this spike down. Let's see how the post plan is going to be. So two players actually hanging out further back. Subroza is going to be playing this angle by the box, but we'll have the support on the cross. That blaze wall was something that they did last time, and look at this there. He actually goes into it because he didn't really have many options. Now it's going to be open. But Wardell, in a rare instance, doesn't hit the shot, though. Drone, 2 kills for him. Cutler does manage to find one of his own, and Wardell will put a period at the end of that statement. TSM go up 4-1 here, 2 in a row for them. That was a round that Sentinels, they needed because financially they were going to be in shambles. Now we're going to see the eco come in. And this moment right here, I mean, I think he was just a little concerned and thought that maybe the molly would have dissipated quicker. But even then, though, it was he knew he had his teammates there to support him.
What TSM have been doing well so far is just showing presence in various areas of the map to make Sentinels be on their toes consistently. We are going to see a little bit more of a push here from Dapr on A long to try and gain control of that A side to ensure it's not going to be as easy for TSM to push up. But I remember in yesterday's games, that angle and that spot was mollied quite a lot, but no interest from TSM at the moment. They don't fancy A site right now. They're all gathering up. One's going to be heading towards double doors, and the rest are going to be going long, and run it back will gain the information, and it won't gain a kill.
It does not. You also heard that flash happen behind him too, but there goes the big flash, and unfortunately for Sick, it's not enough though. 2 kills coming in favor of TSM. They're just just a beautiful smoke isolating them. They'll get this spike down, and Subroza inside of window. He's in the garage like this, right? Like, you know that a player is going to be here to try and hold this area, and Subroza is so comfortable and confident in holding that. Even with 50 HP, he's still going to look to contribute as much as possible, and he does just that. Now knowing where that last player is going to be, the options are severely limited, and then Drone from downtown with that shock dart. We've seen so many shock dart damage kills so often. It's ridiculous, man.
So Sentinels struggling to keep up with the pace of TSM. It was something that TSM did very well in their series yesterday. They kept taking the game to Sentinels, didn't allow Sentinels to play it slow whatsoever. It was a very aggressive game, and TSM just really saying, look, it's a 3-site map. If we push one site quick enough and fast enough, then we are going to be able to overwhelm them, or we're going to force them to be hitting their shots and actually try and get a double if they're going to win the round. And then post plants have been phenomenal as well. The smokes have really helped them. And now we can see Sinatraa try and tag something with the Hunter's Fury, and he does actually take down Drone. He's very good with his Hunter's Fury. He knows the kind of default setup on the other side, so he checks various angles. Usually he's just looking for information, but this time he's actually rewarded with a kill.
It's ridiculous that when the game first came out, everyone was like, yeah, Hunter's Fury is okay for a few of them. Oh, but now Sinatraa, man, he's just defied logic in this game. Also, though, Subroza has actually been unbelievable on Phoenix. Unfortunately for him, though, the constantly amazing ShahZaM does manage to connect with that kill. Sinatraa needs to just wait this one out now. As him and Dapr are going to make their way up.
Revealing area.
Camera's not really going to give him what he's looking for. But they're just clear across the other side. They're going in for a flank, and Sinatra's playing this one out. So this is interesting because Sinatra's now exposed himself, but that's a weakened Cutler, and he sticks it, and he gets it.
I mean, you say the camera... You say the camera didn't give them what they wanted, but it gave them enough information to just get onto site comfortably alongside the Sova dart at the same time. They said, okay, well, we know they're not on this side of the map. We can actually go for a defuse here. And as soon as they heard the footsteps, I mean, he just had to stick it at that point. TSM hoping that it was going to be a fake. But we know that if you stick on that, you're going to have success.
Pros don't fake. That is just, like, you're so right. Because I was thinking really just about the camera, but not about like the reality that with a Sova, oh my goodness, with the Sova and a Cypher still alive, you're still going to be able to contribute. Now, though, as this round starts off, they're going to be left without their jet. So TSM have to figure out what they're going to be able to accomplish here as that first pick comes through. And that was actually great because that's something that's a bit of a new look. They haven't really done that all that much. So credit to Sentinels for kind of downloading what TSM are doing and giving them something to work with for this next round.
I think they've recognized that TSM have been trying to get this A-long control. And I mean, what's the best way to counter that? Sometimes just having a confident peeker on A short in those sewers. And if you can hit your shots, if you can get that first peek, you're going to give yourself the player advantage. There are going to be tripwires set up to ensure that no one can be pushing around via C, but Subroza had managed to worm his way onto the site, but at least ShahZaM was wise to it.
That neural theft is going to give them all the information to be able to play this one out. C is exposed, but that really doesn't matter when they know that with the time ticking, their attention will have to be put toward taking some kind of control in mid. Zombs is going to have a tough job ahead of him with no utility, no molly to try and deny that. With that kill, though, will manage to get that orbital strike, but oh my, he doesn't even need it because his Phantom's an orbital strike. Great stuff.
Can't even hear myself think over the amount of shooting onto bodies right now. And I think this is going to be a demonstration of what is going to be coming, because these teams hate each other. I'm gonna put it out there. I mean, I love a good old-fashioned rivalry, and I think that's what we're creating here in North America. I mean, we're not creating it; the players are creating it.
Yeah,
you see it on Twitter. You see it in the game right now. This is fantastic. I mean, this is only the first 8 rounds of the first map. Of course, as a reminder, TSM did bring a map advantage into this because they came from the winner's bracket, whereas Sentinels coming from the lower bracket will have to come back from a map down, and it is a best of 5. As you can see now, it is going to be pushed towards A yet again for TSM, just trying to show their presence there, trying to get hold of lobby first and then go down A long with Cypher trips elsewhere, just to ensure no flank behind. And that camera will gain a little bit of information there.
Oh, they're going to double peek that, but Dapr gets the kill, even though the run it back does die. They're hearing a lot of movement, or at least they saw a lot of movement, so that's the reason why they're just going to double back immediately. They did get a kill that will allow them that brief moment of delay so that they can just properly reposition. Sick does drift out. There goes the orbital strike now. It comes through. It doesn't find a target, but it does allow TSM to be able to get onto this site here. You have 2 players located inside, and there goes another camera. An orbital strike now is coming through here, but Zombs, he fries them. Fries, Hazed, and Drone. Spike's still not down yet. Cutler needs to work along this with Wardell. He's trying to see if he can get some kind of intel from that camera. And there goes the neural theft. So now this will give them something to work with. And Wardell, watching this connector from the defender side, is going to be able to secure himself one. Just look at that blaze wall too. From up top and down low, it just slows him down. It doesn't allow him to corner plant as well. They just have no options, but Wardell's going to have blades out. He's doing this by himself, and a brilliant job there from Sentinels to just keep themselves in that fight, not allowing TSM to just freely walk on there. And got to also credit for that orbital strike, man. That was filthy.
Sentinels are the retake masters. I love how they just dipped from the site as soon as they knew there was going to be somewhat of a heavy push. They knew they could utilize the orbital strike. They also avoided the enemy orbital strike by retreating from the site so successfully. And it was also the push from Dapr at the same time as the orbital strike came through. Because not only is he going to do a little bit of damage there, which is going to increase the chances of getting kills with the orbital strike, but you're also probably forcing people to stay within that orbital strike because they're going to be looking at you dropping out of window. I love the synergy from this Sentinels roster. Again, a lot of A presence from TSM now as they're pushing heavy up short.
And they sent this one here. Oh, that is going to be very unfortunate. Well, it could have been unfortunate. Dapr is going to have just a tall task ahead of him, but he does manage to get one, so the value is certainly going to be there. A site once again for them to be able to take. Now, as far as the host plant goes and what TSM can work with, they will have that Hunter's Fury. In case things get just a little out of control, they can try and stall that out. So look out for that Sova to be in a comfortable position far away. They're just trying to get the intel as to where Sentinels are going to be located here, but I do think though that they have to be mindful of this too. A few kills starting to come online for both teams, keeping this one as even as this matchup can possibly be. And sick with the delay. There goes the Hunter's Fury, just as I said. Not a shocker. And there, he's just going to hold this one out, and he goes in for another one. Can't get the third one because he waited too long, so now he has to go in for the challenge. So they played it very well, but the problem is that he is not going to be able to get there in time because ShahZaM was looking right down the barrel. But they had the right idea there. Unfortunately, it just boiled down to that retake that, again, Sentinels, man, they're just so good at it.
Yeah, they know how to retake a site, and you can tell the communication is on point with them. The synergy is there, and just the confidence to be able to push on site, knowing that there's going to be a teammate right next to them to make sure they get the trade. And at 5-5, I mean, it was 7-5 after the first half when we saw these two play against each other. Sentinels were able to get 7 on their defensive half. So if TSM can just get up to 6, then they've done one better, and maybe can stop this from going to overtime again, as they were so closely contested when they played each other before, as Wardell gets the opener onto ShahZaM, and that's something he consistently was able to do in the last time they played as well. And the confidence, when it's flowing through Wardell, it's terrifying.
This battle between Wardell and ShahZaM has been beautiful. It's just this vicious ballet between the both of them, right? Like they're both trying to dance around each other, outplay one another. There's always this unexpected element as to what angles are going to be holding, because they're both very they're fluid. They move around the map so well, and they're constantly giving themselves new openings and new peaks.
You know what's funny is just seeing these Cypher cameras just being used consistently at A, because both teams worried about the amount of A presence because there's been so many fights at A so far. But Smokes will go down to try and defend this C push.
Great angle for Zombs. Hazed had a lot to worry about when he was coming onto the site there, so Zombs getting a few of those kills is nice, but here comes in the back platform. Hold down the trigger, do not blink, and just shoot.
So now with TSM knowing that the Odin is going to be in the hands of Sinatraa, they need to probably avoid double doors and avoid just pushing out into second mid, because you are going to leave yourself vulnerable to that spray down. But we have seen Sinatraa push up A long before, dart into A lobby, and then just spray down from long, and he has been able to catch people out in that case. So it's going to be difficult for them because they've just seen him at C, but now they're going to be reluctant to push the double doors and A. There is going to be presence shown at both sides of the map, though.
They're running double op and Odin, man. That is ridiculous. And Subroza, I think he wanted to pop Blaze Wall there. It looked like that was the animation that the Phoenix was doing. So ShahZaM just Blade Storm backs away. He'll just get out of dodge and not worry too much about that one. Meanwhile, over at the B site, guess who's going to be waiting for them? It's Odin. And a few of those shots are actually going to go through. He could play the corners and get a few of those kills there, but you know, at the end of the day, right, the way that they just charge into this and sick with reckless abandon, and he has that confidence because he knows that his teammates are there to pick up the slack in case he's not able to finish it. That's just going to be able to bring Sentinels here 7-5 in this half. They'll now have to figure out what they're going to do on this attack. It was just a beautiful, beautiful half there from both teams.
I mean, an exact repeat of what happened yesterday at 7-5 hold. Sentinels being able to string 6 in a row. Really something that they can be proud of, because TSM were looking pretty dominant in the early stages, but once that economy had started to build up for the Sentinels, they looked a little bit better. Odin in hands, or Ops in hands too. I think TSM will still be happy with 5, considering it is consistent from what they provided. But now, on the other hand for Sentinels, and they are going to be attacking. I wonder whether they're going to show as much presence in A, or whether they're going to try and focus elsewhere. Of course, we saw on the opposite side for the pistol, it was a heavy smoke in towards B site, and then a transition towards A site. Maybe something similar here, or maybe just a commitment to B. No, it looks like they're going to go for something pretty much identical. But I think it's going to be a plant into B this time, just while showing presence in the A link.
Yeah, they gave up a lot of space there because they were just waiting to see if the commitment came in, but they full sent it, so now they're able to get that spike down. Look out for Hazed, though. He's lingering out on the outside. They're going to need to worry about this mid player here in a moment. A molly to clear that cubby is going to be very important, considering people will hang out there. A few smokes to give them some block. If he gets his kill, that would be big, but there goes ShahZaM again, and the round is over in a blink of an eye as Sentinels continue to add on to their winning ways here. They've managed to win 7 straight on Haven. Jeez,
great off angles being held by Sentinels on the site as well. They're just being a little bit unpredictable, not standing in your normal positions for holds. Made it very difficult for TSM to be able to push on and get the retake for the site. I mean, look at that from ShahZaM, just dead central. Leaving himself so vulnerable from window, but he'd already had the audio cue from the smokes being whipped up by the brimstone. Now we see Sentinels take the first pistol, and the Ares instantly brought out as well to try and gain a little bit of a spray down through the double doors.
That was just a nice angle for the recon dart. Didn't give him what he was looking for, but you'll also notice too, he's going to be running with that Ares, which has been his go-to. And it is quite horrifying when you're holding just a tiny little classic.
Yeah.
And you're going up against an Ares with its loud drum.
I mean, it's horrifying at any round. If you just hear the loud drum of an Ares or an Odin when you know it's Sinatraa that has it in hand, like the way he plays this and the way he utilizes it alongside the Sova is magnificent.
They're going to bully their way onto B site. No one's there to really stop them. Some players will be coming in from the flank, but Dapr's there to handle some business. Drone from the distance where the shorty gets a kill. But this round is basically a wrap here. If he does this with a shorty and 35 HP, it will be the greatest play of all time, right? Surely, Dan. It would be unbelievable.
I mean, you could shorty one, then pick up the gun. It's a stretch. It's not going to happen. And Sentinels are going to take a 9-5 lead here, but then we're getting into the business rounds now. What are Sentinels going to have to do against TSM, who are going to be able to buy up? TSM, who looked very strong yesterday on the defensive side, and they were able to stop Sentinels pushing consistently onto the B site. At the start of round, Sentinels are using their Cypher traps just on both C and A if they're going to be pushing to B to ensure they're not going to be flanked from behind. This is going to be the real display of what Sentinels have to offer that's different from yesterday in terms of how they attack on Haven. And things become a little bit more difficult when TSM get money and TSM start to buy up ops and the like, because you know when Wardell has an op in hand, it's not going to be a fun situation pushing onto any site he's holding. He's gone for an aggressive angle in mid, and maybe Sentinel's slightly wise to that. So no one really showing and no one going for these early peaks just yet. It's a safe push down A short alongside the drone just to gain a little bit of presence here in A lobby.
camera is just waiting for them if they come through and try and sneak in, but they're still putting that attention there. Sinatraa going for the common wallbang spot. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, look how low! Yeah, Wardell. No, don't stand there.
No more
You're good.
charges left.
Oh, that makes you sweat. Here we go, but Wardell still didn't die, and I'm sure that, you know, had he gotten the kill, maybe this round actually turns out a little bit differently, though. Now Zombs does try to equal the odds, and there goes Sinatraa. So while it wasn't going to be Wardell, did manage to get his man. Wardell's still with this op on the high ground here. That's going to be a close spike plant toward hell.
Yeah, just planting it right in the corner so you can't get sprayed down from heaven. Ensuring that angle is not going to be comfortable.
So he jumps over the trap wire, and he's just running for this. So they now have to pay attention to him because he managed to get here, which caused a distraction. And they follow up from it. Hazed gets on site. He's checking all the corners there. There was just too many angles, too much business for him to handle. Now it's just up to Wardell with 18 HP. I think you just got to count your blessings and try and get out of there. And he's going to have to inch away from this. He doesn't even have a tailwind to try and fly out. He'll just go all the way back to the defender side. And I think they don't really want to mess with him all that much. So he'll carry that op into the next round. But that one could have actually, like, you know, think about how all those, like, slight interactions then, like, lead to the moments that we just saw, right? Wardell dies there, and then maybe, you know, they're freer to go onto the site, right? Like, they still managed to win the round, but I just love the fact that it's boiling down to these small moments that these players are just trying to outsmart one another.
It's Zombs' confidence as well, pushing onto site as a Brimstone and just hitting his shots, which really help out Sentinels at the moment as they go 10-5 up. And we are going to see little money for the side of TSM, just this op to work round for Wardell. It's going to be a pretty standard setup at the moment. Again, just showing presence towards a short, using the drone to ensure no one's going to be there and too aggressive to try and get those peaks. The camera goes out to A-long as well, but the camera does get destroyed. So maybe advantage Sentinels in terms of this A-long control that both these teams have been fighting over for so long. So the spike all the way back towards spawn, and I think Sentinels feel like TSM are going to go for some sort of push here, because you can see how they are watching all their angles and making sure that no one is going to be pushing from behind. TSM holding strong and saying, actually, we're still going to force you to do something. We're not going to play your game here.
A shot from Wardell actually prompts them to begin to group up. But Wardell, wise to it, does move. Two players are going to be stuck on the site here as Cutler does what he can with that Sheriff, and ShahZaM from outside. Now, be careful about that flank, ShahZaM. That will be something that could be a really bad day for you if you're not too careful, but you'll be playing the cubby, and he's anticipating this, so this is basically just going to be Hazed walking right into the scope. 11-3 Sentinels, man, they've been just, this is TSM's pick. They went for Haven, and Sentinels, it has been crazy how much can change in a, and look at the timeline. Look at this. It's just ridiculous. They haven't been able to let TSM get any kind of progress.
And this is, again, I'm going to reiterate how important it is to pick up these pistol rounds. And the fact that Sentinels were able to pick up this pistol, they've had the economy, they've been able to gain a little bit of momentum, and TSM haven't been able to bite back because of that. Wardell, again, on the half buy, only going to have the half armor alongside the op, so he's not going to be at full strength. There's the drone again to A short, but this time Subroza trying to take back a little bit of presence here, but Sinatraa denies it. But the Molotov, the hot hands, it was good.
Yeah, that was a genius play, because you play the hot hands there because you know a player's inside of that cyber cage. So then you just, at this point, that guy just has to bail out. Maybe you do some damage. That was a great exchange there that gave him that slight advantage. And then they obviously pick up another one. So they're running into this site with 3 players here as Wardell just repositions.
Look at this at C site.
Get out of my way!
They're inside, and Wardell's just waiting. He's waiting, and he's actually gonna, he's just biding his time. Oh, he's gonna shoot him right in the butt. Oh, dude, that is rough. Oh, Wardell. 2 kills, ends the hopes of that. Dapr's gonna be stuck inside of mid. Will manage to pick up the kill. Could maybe build upon that, but it will be a Herculean task to do so, considering that camera's waiting for him once he walks outside. So he's gonna walk right and be seen by millions of people across the world. Oh, there he is. It's called out, so they know exactly where he's going to be. They can play this one accordingly. Here, there goes the harass from Sinatraa, or excuse me, from Drone with those darts. It's honestly hard. They're both just landing them right now. It's gorgeous, and that is going to be 11-6. TSM finally, after round of defeat, finally get themselves a win here.
Subroza just getting a little bit more aggressive towards A and ensuring he got the trade so it wasn't as comfortable for A lobby to be dominated by Sentinels this time. And then the patience from Wardell was phenomenal. I mean, Sentinels had managed to creep their way up, utilizing Brim Smoke. Zombs just walked all the way down C long. And then for Wardell to be wise to it and just wait, trigger discipline. And here's the aggression again from Subroza. It looks like they're sick and tired of all this A control that they've seen from Sentinels. I know it's going to be a run it back, but that's an ult just used purely for information and a little bit of map control. But now with the run it back gone, at least the camera is there to regain any info in case Sentinels decide to go down A. But it is going to be all 4 members. One just going to be watching the flank. Camera does spot them though.
It's going to have to be a game of delay if you're Cutler, that's what you're thinking, but you're anticipating that maybe this push is going to start to come, and they do manage to split onto the site. Hunter's Fury, though, is going to try and slow their roll here as they get on. A lot of tags are going to go in their benefit. Despite that, though, Sinatraa gets the kill on Cutler, who was patrolling around a site. Now, we're going to see this retake for TSM, maybe, but Orbital Strike slows down that plant. Now, Hazed being mindful of this, but there was going to be a cross from Sinatraa. 2 kills for him. Only going to leave just Drone alive, and ShahZaM, he had the beat on him. They knew exactly where he was going to be coming from. Now we're going to be sitting at match point in favor of Sentinels on TSM's pick of Haven.
Throughout that whole plant process as well, Dapr actually went all the way back down A long and started to flank through mid to try and get the big old flankaroonie in case there was going to be anything going wrong. So a very brave flank, but that's something that Sentinels have done time and time again, not just on this map, but throughout all of the maps of Valorant, is going for that long flank, going for that big boy play, because when it pays off, boy does it play well. 12-6 in Sentinels. They're just 1 round away from evening up this grand finals. TSM started with a map lead because of the winner's bracket advantage, but it could quite quickly be chalked away thanks to a very impressive attacking side from Sentinels so far. But Sentinels did string together 6 rounds in a row, of course, and maybe TSM could do the same thing.
The fact that Subroza in those moments, right, is going to be good for 2 gives TSM all the confidence in this round. It's Subroza on Phoenix was such a great choice for TSM to make the adjustment. He's got a nasty shot. He's got loads of confidence, and Phoenix is just the best for him to be able to play there. It's a good call from the coaching to adjust that up. Now they're going to be peaking Sentinels here toward A. And Cutler, while he has been having a bit of a rough time in this game, let's not forget that he's been dealing mostly with this A aggression and has been the first line of defense. So you really can't lace together a few kills here if you're Cutler. Now, he leaves the camera for a moment, but will spam through. Does a sizable amount of damage to those players. Everyone's going to be tagged up and weakened because of that. There goes the shot start from Drone, and it lands on ShahZaM. A perfect lineup. They're going to reattempt to go for this again, which they spike gets down, but now it's just up to Sinatraa. 49 HP, but it ain't gonna matter. And TSM managed to hold on in this one, Gaskin. It's possible they can come back. It's not out of the realm of possibility. They just need to get this round in particular, and they could actually create some problems for their economy.
Yeah, they just need to find some consistency. Exactly what we saw Sentinels, what they were able to do on the defensive side. But that shock dart was everything from Joan. If that plant goes down, you've got a Brimstone off-site with a Molotov and with Orbital Strike. And suddenly, that becomes very scary. Because if you've got 2 players who can delay enough where that Molotov and Orbital Strike wins the round, Sentinels, they guarantee this match.
Wardell's going for it. He's going for it.
Oh, yeah. They really did not enjoy Sentinels taking this much control at A. And actually, now Sentinels using the Cyber Cage just to keep control of A lobby.
And Cutler gets very aggressive up top. So he's holding this, and they're worried about Wardell, right? Because he's watching the lane.
Well, that's a
But
spike.
if they come through, and the spike's down too, which makes it even worse. But once they push that, he colors right there. He waits for one, and now he can just continue to play this angle. Big tag up there for Sinatraa. He dances around that, makes it into a 2v2. They do manage to regain the spike again. The issue is that, yeah, they're going to be very weak. And Subroza, he's waiting right by the attacker side in an off angle that you're just not going to expect. You're not going to expect this. Subroza wins that one. 2 kills for him, and that is going to give them yet again another win. Maybe we're starting to see a bit of a trend here, Dan, where they build up this lead, and then it gets into some scary territory that I'm physically uncomfortable, you know, like watching, because it would just be way too intense.
I just love that positioning from Subroza, though. There's always the risk when he takes that position that they don't actually go that way, and then suddenly it can be a 2 versus 1 on A site. But instead, he uses his game sense. He knows that it makes sense for them to actually reevaluate where they're pushing and not go towards A. No one's ever checking that. So TSM now 4 rounds behind. And for Sentinels, money not looking too good. So that's good news for TSM fans. It means that a 9th round is definitely on the cards here. And we are going to have a pause as well. So we can start to decipher this a little bit more, Goldenboy, because this is looking like a different Sentinels on Haven. They definitely look a lot more comfortable in how they push onto sites. They've been favoring A aggressively, and we can see that. And TSM are starting to respond to that now as well, whether that be through Wardell and his op, whether that be through Run It Back in Phoenix, or just flashes from the Phoenix, even the Cypher camera there. All these resources have been put in towards A at the moment, and I guess everyone else on the other sites is like, hey guys, can I get involved in this action?
I would like to play some Valorant. That'd be fantastic. Thanks, guys. I think it boils down to their post plant as well, and the way that Sentinels, like, you know, I think it really just both teams, they're so great at that post plant and getting themselves into angles that will not create like just missed opportunities. They're depending on the numbers, right? ShahZaM said it in the interview, like it's not something that you can always like guarantee, right? Because after the plant goes down, you don't know what they have. Like you kind of have to just like make those assumptions. Some things are clearer than others, you know. Brimstone happens to have ult, well, you know what he's gonna do, right? Like if you got the Hunter's Fury, well, you know what he's gonna do. Like those are the clear ones. But then the small bits of utility that are still gonna be left over, shock darts, for example, which I would remember in the beginning of this game, players were just throwing shock darts out like it was free candy, just all the time. And now you're seeing them save it for lineups after the plant, and just trying to prevent plants in some instances. Subroza now, as the action continues here, goes right in with the run it back. He's waiting for some aggression. That's going to be a flash to give him some kind of respite there for a moment, but it actually ends up not even being the case, as ShahZaM dived right into it. Thankfully, Cutler was there to wait for him. The orbital strike comes through, as they'll now march on to the A site. Spike is going to go down. I think we are going to see a shock dart land, and that is going to hurt a lot of members of Sentinels. Dapr, though, does manage to pick up a kill. Looking up top, that player in heaven could be a problem. Spike is down, though, despite that shock dart coming in at a great moment and applying some pressure. Now things are actually just going to slow down a little bit here as Cutler's playing from inside the connector. They do manage to get the tag on 2, but where is going to be that third player? Where is Zombs? They swing for this one, and Wardell, this is it. It boils down to Wardell, and there you have it, folks. Sentinels managed to pick